Hey everybody, this is Seth. Keep it real. I want to thank you so much, Casey, for being here today. For those of you guys who may not know, Casey is the founder of Viral Launch and also Market Intelligence. I know a lot of you guys know about Viral Launch. Some of you guys have asked about Market Intelligence, and you say, well, how does that compare to Amazow? I'll simply say both are badass. So one thing I like about Market Intelligence is you can see the data history of the sales. You don't have to install Keepa and then install Camel, and then everything you need is in one place. Was that sort of your guys' idea behind that tool?
So we've run over 30,000 product launches, right? And so through this, we were seeing all these mistakes that people were making. And one of them is they had no historical context. Like people weren't going to Keepa, or they weren't going to Camel. And so they're making bad decisions because like price looks good right now, or sales look good right now. And there's no like, hey, you need to look at the historical trends because actually sales are on a big decline or price is on a big decline. And so, yeah, that was the intention behind showing the historical data.
So if they're looking at product research in December, obviously it's going to be way inflated because it's the holiday season. Then in January, they get depressed and go, wait a minute, what happened to all those great sales and searches?
Yeah, or if maybe you looked at fidget spinners in February and price was still $15 a unit, $10 a unit, but then it went down to like average price of $2 or something like that. And had you have seen the historical context, you would have seen price in the aggregate is declining.
Well, hey, thank you so much for being here. And I want to do a proper introduction, man. Market intelligence was on my mind. So can you just tell us briefly, Casey, how did you guys launch, pun intended, Viral Launch, and why?
I just turned 25, so I was 21, college dropout, taught myself how to code in college, studying business, running track, dropped out building iOS apps, and a track teammate of mine, he was an Amazon seller. So he is the one with the original Viral Launch idea, and I was just a guy that knew how to build the original platform. So we got started, we invested $700 in Facebook ads to build our initial audience. And this audience is the group that we ran promotions to. So we would run your product at a discount to this audience to grow our list. So I ended up buying that guy out, officially after a year of the business. Just wasn't that into it, and I saw a ton of opportunity. And so I'm still, full owner of Viral Launch and just trying to grow from there.
That's super cool. So what's neat about it is it sounds like it grew out of a need. Some people, they'll go out there like, hey, let's, build a software company, make money. And a lot of those fall flat. But other ones, they say, wait a minute, I'm having a problem. We need to fix this. Like we started this program called Jod Toolbox. It was like one place for customer automated messages, finding who left you a negative review, hijacker alert. How do I plan out my launches? Do I want to do 2 a month, 3 a month? What would my profit be? What about PPC ad? Like all that, like all into one place. But we didn't originally think, let's just build a tool, make money. We need this. Like this will help us. So it sounds like in a similar way, your friend needed this, and then that ended up becoming something probably beyond what you ever expected.
Yeah, exactly. He saw that he knew that if he paid to build this list, he would also be able to sell it to other people to basically afford the costs that he was investing in growing that list. So yeah, crowdsourcing your own tool essentially.
Could you tell us a little bit about how Viral Launch works and why it is so important? A lot of people get confused over reviews versus ranking versus optimization. I know we throw these words around a lot because they become like second nature. When people think that, like, wait a minute, why would I give away products at practically for nothing? Like, I'm just throwing money out the window. Like, to a new seller, that just drives them crazy. So could you explain that?
Essentially, so our most popular tool to date, at this point it isn't, but it has traditionally been, and that is our what we call our launches. And these consist of selling your product at deep discounts, usually somewhere around 90% off. And so, yes, it's a lose money, spend money to make money kind of play here. And so essentially the goal is driving keyword ranking. So there's been especially before TOS, but there's a lot of these review groups. So give your product away in exchange for a review. We've never been a review site. And so, we were very fortunate to have positioned ourselves well. So when this did happen, everyone's website was down. We were still up, again, because we're focused on keyword ranking. So the largest contributor to ranking on Amazon is sales. And so what we're doing for you is we're just able to drive a high volume, that's relative, of course, a high volume of sales to your listing through a targeted keyword to drive keyword ranking. And so Amazon doesn't care if it was bought at full price, 50% off, 99% off. These in order drive sales. And so that's what we do here at Bar Lunch. You let us know, hey, I want to give away 100 units at 90% off, or sell 100 units at 90% off for the next 7 days to boost my keyword ranking. You upload the coupons, you put in the information, press go. We'll programmatically distribute those coupons each day.
When you talk about keyword ranking, so a lot of people, the way they think is, well, I want my listing to rank. Could you explain what does it mean to rank for one keyword versus another, and how you make that connection between these buyouts? Are people actually creating links where they can literally use that link so it simulates that keyword research as if they had dropped it in, and boom, the purchase is done as if the person had searched that keyword and it resulted on the conversion of that listing? Is that how it works?
Yeah, essentially. So at the end of the day, so there was what people call super URLs, which would, take someone to the listing and have keywords in the URL as a URL parameter to target a keyword. So around March of 2015, we saw that not working so well. So what we started doing is what we call a two-step URL. Some people may know it as, there's many different types, but there's the storefront URL, there's the brand URL, there's a lot of different URLs that will take you to a search page or a page right before the detail page. So this is where we take them. You're able to use your Amazon URL that you want in our system. You're able to just go in there and paste it, or we'll generate a two-step URL for you. And basically the argument is essentially, let's say we're using a storefront URL. What this does is it takes you to storefront for XYZ seller and filters out the products by fish oil or whatever this keyword is. And so when a customer clicks the link, they go to the storefront filtered by the keyword, and they see your product. They click the product, they add it to cart, they add their coupon, and they buy. And by having this keyword filter, one, it only shows the product that you intend the customer out in buying, and then it also shows Amazon that this product is relevant for this keyword. And so each sale is a vote of relevance for that keyword, so Amazon's algorithm will rank it higher. Through our launches, you're able to target 1 to 4 keywords, but what's really important, kind of the foundation to this, which I think we're going to be talking about a bit, is listing optimization. So if you have, let's say, I always use fish oil because it's a product that you should not jump into unless you have, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million to throw in on this one product. But anyways, so let's take a fish oil as an example. If you don't have the keyword fish oil in your title, you're going to have a very difficult time ranking for that keyword, even if people are searching the keyword and then buying it. And so the flip side is, you, with an optimized title or optimized listing, or both, you will be able to rank for multiple keywords each sale that is driven. So when a sale happens, Amazon looks at the content of that listing, and the keywords in this listing all get a relevance boost in ranking. So you need to make sure that you have as many keywords in your listing as possible, as many relevant keywords as possible. The most relevant keywords in your title, there's a lot of details. And again, we can get into the nitty-gritty if you want. But anyways, each sale that happens, Amazon looks at the keyword structure of your listing and improves ranking for those words. So the foundation, you absolutely cannot run a bar launch or any kind of giveaways on your own or anything like that. You are wasting your money if you don't have a very well optimized listing before doing so.
So basically, you don't want someone to use the system. If they use it, they launch, they give tons away, they start seeing their BSR number go down to ranking better, but then all of a sudden it just disappears in a few days. And I notice you guys do it over a period of time versus in one day. Could you talk about that algorithm, having those sales spread out for the ranking purposes?
With our launches, again, we've run over 30,000 launches. We're tracking the content of each listing. We're tracking the keyword rank position for multiple keywords to understand how sales interact with that content to drive ranking. And so one thing that we've been able to discern from all of this data is that Amazon is not tracking necessarily current sales, velocity. They're tracking velocity over time or sales history. And so we specifically target at a minimum 7 days of promotion, because we see Amazon tracking, and we also have, confirmation internally from Amazon that they track in these 7-day increments. So what Amazon is doing is they're looking at your average per day sales in these 24 hours, 48 hours, 5 days, 7 days, in 7-day increments, in these buckets of these increments. to understand how relevant your product is for a keyword. And so, yeah, if you were to just run a promotion for fish oil for one day, you may see a spike up, but you don't have enough sales history in the 5-day bucket, 7-day bucket, 14-day bucket for Amazon to really take your listing into consideration to rank for this word. And so in these promotions, we suggest at minimum giving away for 7 days, because we see it satisfying that 7-day bucket and allows you to maximize your rank position, but also help to sustain that keyword ranking over time.
So it doesn't drop off all of a sudden right after.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. And guys, just so you guys know, Casey, he's going to be speaking at the summit, which is going to be in Las Vegas. It's about a month from now, March 11 to 13. You guys, I'll include a link below where you guys can sign up for that if you want to see Casey in person speak. And then he's doing like 12 hours of free one-to-ones. No, I'm just joking. No, but seriously, if you guys want to be there, Manny Coates is going to be there. Casey Gauss is going to be there. Tim Jordan's going to be there. Some really, really heavy hitters when it comes to understanding how to succeed on Amazon. As you guys know, there's a ton of talk about Amazon and a ton of people jumping in. One of the key things for us is we want people teaching who understand how it works. It's not just oh my goodness, I find a product, I stick a logo on it, I private labeled, and I make money. And there was a day where maybe that worked a little bit, right? It's kind of crazy to think about, but today you're building a business, you're building a legitimate business, and you have to know your data. It's the same as if you're building a brick and mortar coffee shop. You need to know the area, you need to know how many access points from the freeway, how many windows, we're gonna have a double drive-through or a single drive-through. All that information matters in order to get customers. Well, in the same way, when you start on Amazon, that's what's so important. I really love the topic for your title, for your speaking topic at the summit, Casey. And I thought of like a twist off of it. You can tell what you think. So it's data-driven insights for listing optimization. And what that basically means is data-driven, based on facts, based on data, so that you can decide, I understand it, how to make my listing optimized or the best as possible so people will buy it when they find it. I was even thinking, data-driven, not emotional-driven data insights, because a lot of people, they fall in love with the product and they think because it's cute, that's going to sell. Could you speak to that a little bit and talk about what are some of the steps you take, Casey? You look at a listing, if you were to say, Seth, let's just break this down. It's not converting, even though it's in a very highly demand market. The competition isn't crazy. Let's say there's under 20 top competitors, so they should be able to get on the first page, but they're on page 77. What are some of the first things you would look at, and how do emotions sometimes, I'm not anti-emotion, but how do they get in the way?
I'm a data person. I think that you can break down the majority of what's working, what's not working into, data on Amazon. And, there's only 6-7 levers that you can pull on Amazon to drive success. And so with enough data, you're able to see these kinds of correlations. One thing that I think is very easy to understand, one illustration is, you can have the, most brand focused listing. You can have the most beautiful listing possible, but if it's on page 70, no one is going to see it. No one is going to buy your amazing product. And so the key to getting your product, your amazing product in as many hands as possible is to maximize where and for how many keywords you are going to be showing up for in the search results. And the way to do that is to focus on the science behind writing your listing versus the emotional, the art behind writing your listing. So one thing that I always say is I would much rather I would much rather have, a 3% lower click-through rate because my title isn't as pretty, but I'm ranking for 2 or 3 times as many keywords. In the aggregate, I'll get so many more impressions, and collectively, I'll have so much more traffic, and I'll be able to convert this traffic to drive more sales. And so you really need to look at your listing from a science perspective when it comes to maximizing the amount of quality traffic that you're going to be able to get to your listing. And a lot of that doesn't include the art or sharing your brand. I think the best way to talk about your brand, to build this story, is not in the content necessarily, depending on, how many keywords you have and how much space you have.
Right.
You only have, so many characters available, so much space available to write. you really need to be leveraging that for the search results. So again, you can get in front of as many customers as possible. Where you can really tell that story is in just the quality of the product and the reviews that customers are leaving for this particular product, and really in your photos.
We're very image oriented. People buy with their eyes, and you get on your phone, you scroll Instagram, Facebook. Oh, it's a video, it's interesting, or a photo, but we want to read a long text. So true. Yeah.
So share your brand story, share how amazing your particular product is in your photos, and leave the content as much as possible to the science of maximizing your keyword exposure. Of course, it still needs to be cohesive. And
right.
You need to, the trick is beautifully marrying sales-inducing language that is driving conversions with keywords to maximize keyword ranking. And so the more emotions you have in there, we do not think that you should include your brand in the title. Brand is already, shown. It shows XYZ by brand.
Thank you so much, Casey, for mentioning it. I noticed this. So many people, they'll put it at the very beginning. I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute, it's right there. If you register your brand, it's right there on the top left. And then sometimes it's the same as your store, so you can see it there. Unless you're like Nike or Whirlpool. But even then, if your brand is that strong, they're going to find you when they search for it.
Right. And so no one is searching for your brand if you're, the average private label seller. If so, very few people are, and your products are going to show up because Amazon indexes your brand, and it's actually weighted very heavily in keyword results. But I think one reason why a lot of people do this is because they see the top sellers including brand in their title. And the reason these top sellers include brand in their title is, one, people are searching for Dove soap. Right. And then two, these big brands actually don't know how to best maximize for the search results. If you go look up shampoo, you don't see a lot of the name brands. You see a lot of private label sellers. So these big brands don't know how to maximize, their titles or for optimization.
But they're still getting sales because they're already a big brand anyway. So it's what they did years ago in brick and mortar platform that causes them to sell well now. That makes total sense. Yeah. This is awesome, man. If you were to look at a listing and you said, okay, Seth, so this listing, it's not converting as good as it should. We have to do something to change it. If you were just to take your two favorite of the 6 to 7 levers, or if I'm from, I can't help it, but we have so many people from the UK, we say levers. I'm not UK, but it just comes to mind. What are a couple of those levers that you would say, let's look at these first? Like if you were to, like the big rocks, like let's take care of these first, and how would you evaluate them?
I think the single most impactful thing in your private label business is product selection, first off. Second is showing up in the search results. Like if you had amazing photos, an amazing product that's getting great reviews, an amazing listing, but you're not ranking anywhere, it's hard to drive sales. And yes, you can use sponsored ads, but generally you're able to drive more volume through organic search results than through sponsored ads. So I think number 2 is driving ranking. So driving ranking can be expensive depending on the market that you're in. Sometimes you need promotions. In less competitive markets, you can drive it through sponsored ads or just having a really competitive price. But really pulling that lever around driving your keyword ranking would be lever number 2. I think the third most important would either be really killing it on your sponsored ad game, or just setting up your listing so that you can maximize ranking on all of the traffic that you're driving through your sponsored ads or through the organic search results.
Yeah. A lot of people, they get afraid of PPC. When I first started Amazon, I was scared of PPC. And I don't say this in like arrogance. We did really well without PPC for a long time. But then later, as I started learning, wait a minute, it's becoming more and more important as the competition goes up. I had to learn it by necessity. And a lot of people, they'll think, I would ask them this question for fun. I would say, would you spend $1,000 a day on PPC? And they would say, heck no, there's no way I would do that. And then I'll say, wait a minute, just think with me here. If you spent $1,000 a day on PPC, but that brought you $3,000 of revenue a day, would you do it? I'm like, wait, of course, absolutely. And so I think being able to divorce yourself from the money, the expenses, and even the profit, and just say, I need to look at it from a very analytical, left brain, data-driven perspective, put it in the right place, leverage it, understand the results, and then let it sit for a while. And just let it work for you. That creates such a sense of freedom. Like I'm not, my sense of purpose isn't so attached to this listing that every time I have a bad sales day, I get depressed and I need pop pills. I'm in this for the long haul. I'm in this for weeks and months. And I realize for a few weeks, my ACOS might be super high, but over time it's going to get better as I keep tweaking that listing based on what people are searching for. And that's what I love about companies similar to Viral Launch is you're using data to help people. Data, which isn't fun. It's not romantic. It's not sexy, but it's how you make money, right?
Oh, yeah. So one big mistake that we make that is a little off topic, we see people make, is they jump into a market where they, spend the majority, almost all of their budget, or maybe all of their budget, simply on inventory. And then the problem is you don't have money for sponsored ads to even lose, $100 or a couple $100, and it really stagnates or inhibits your ability to grow or get off the ground at all. So when you're sourcing your products, you definitely need to make sure that you're only getting into markets where you have enough money for inventory, but you'll also have enough money for the marketing associated with getting yourself off the ground.
I really like what you said earlier when I asked you what are the top 2 or 3 levers, and the first one you mentioned was the right product. Because here I was thinking listing optimization, but you made a really good point. So we get a lot of emails to Just One Diamond. They'll say, hey, can you help me get my product ranking? And one of the first things we think of is, well, if you're making a nice meal on the Titanic, what good is it? If you have a really nice band on the Titanic, what good is it? Is your product worth it? And some people, they'll join the program, they'll go, wait a minute, I want to get right to the PPC. And we're like, wait, you need to first vet the product you have. How do you know that the demand is strong, the competition isn't too high, so that therefore it's worth putting all this time into? So that's really, really good. Guys, Casey's going to be at the summit. He will be in Las Vegas talking about this, but a ton more. Data-driven insights for optimizing your listing. What is the idea? So that you don't just have a listing that's cute, you have a listing that makes you money. That's the idea behind it. So you can actually build wealth, and that wealth creates margin, so you have freedom to do the things you love with the people you love. The more I talk to people in Amazon, Casey, who work with Amazon, not as employees, but like what you and I do, I realize, and tell me if I'm saying too much here, they're not particularly in love with Amazon, but more the opportunity, the platform it brings, and the joy of the fight and the struggle to figure things out and make them work. Like it gives such a huge, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, Amazon is like, oh, like I have, it will, it'll probably do well for a long time. I'm sure competitors will rise up. There's Jet, there's Walmart and others, but it's not like Amazon is the end goal. It's the opportunity it creates, the money, but also the path on our way there. It's an adventure. It's fun.
So I'm not passionate about Amazon or e-commerce. Again, I've never actually sold anything. So all of my knowledge is from the data. I think this is our biggest advantage is, we work with the guys that are making, $5 a month on Amazon and the guys that are making $5 million a month on Amazon and, everyone in between. So I'm not passionate about e-commerce or anything. What I am super excited about, and I think is just amazing, is just, like you said, the opportunity that Amazon affords. So many people are, having successful experiences as entrepreneurs for the first time because of this opportunity that Amazon provides us. And so as like you and I, we get to be a part of those entrepreneurial journeys, and we get to be, one of the stepping stones in these sellers' success. And that's what I get so excited about. That's what I'm able to get my team so excited about. So yeah, I'm with you.
That's awesome. Hey, thank you so much, Casey, for taking the time to do this and to do this interview and providing this free value to everyone. Again, guys, if you want an opportunity to meet Casey, shake his hand. He's also, I almost forgot to mention this, and I'm so glad I remembered. So we have a panel at the end of the conference. It's going to be a 6 to 7 person panel, which I'm going to host. And you guys can submit your questions. You write them on a card. We pull them out of the hat. And it's going to be really fun. I think it's going to be funny too. I'm going to have fun with it because I'm hosting it. So I just want to prepare you ahead of time. But seriously, I love, in a fun way, playing different personalities and experiences off each other. But this will be really cool. So basically, you can ask questions to this panel, and Casey will be there. So if you have questions specifically that relate to your store, to Amazon, the struggle you're going through, Casey's going to be there to help you answering those questions along with many other people. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, no, thank you.
All right, man. Awesome. Well, hey, have an awesome day.